Good morning, guys. We're standing out here in Hutchinson, Kansas, in front of the Cosmosphere. Let's go inside and take a look around. The first thing that you notice as you walk up is these giant rockets. I believe they're maybe the Saturn V rockets. Then over here, oh, check this out. It's pretty impressive. Over here outside, you see one of the engines from the rocket. That's so cool. I mean, just look at that thing. So impressive. Oh, check this out. Got a bird's eye view. All right, let's head downstairs. Some stuff from the SR-71 Blackbird. Pilot seat. The aircraft tires was infused with powdered aluminum. It's one of their flight suits. The SR-71 crews are identical to those used, but suits are worn by the Here we have the Bell X-1. First piloted aircraft to break the sound barrier was the Bell X-1 in 1947. Chuck Yeager broke the sound barrier in the X-1. So it's the North American X-15. X-15s were flown under the wing of a B-52 and dropped launch from the mothership. It flew 199 missions on the plane they called the Black Beast. In 1967, William Knight pushed the X-15 to 4,520 miles per hour. More than 50 years later, that was still the speed record for a powered piloted aircraft. That's crazy. Look at that. There's one of the engines, the rocket engines from the XLR-11. What is this? Test subjects. This was the Sonic Wind 2 rocket sled. Oh, so they would strap in right here. And it says, a variety of test subjects, which range from stuffed human dummies to guinea pigs, hogs, and chimpanzees, were placed in the front of the sled to test their responses to the extremely high G-forces experienced during these runs. On April 13th, 1957, it carried a chimpanzee down the 6.5-mile long track at China Lake at a speed of more than 1,326 miles per hour. Well, that's not cool. Legacy V2 rocket. Oh, about the Cold War. Duck and cover. Here we have Uncle Sam and Vladimir Lenin. We have Sputnik 1. It was the first satellite to go into space that the Russians sent up in 1957. Listen, 1 month later, while Americans were still numb from the shock of watching the first Sputnik sail over their heads, the Soviets sent up Sputnik 2, which carried a small dog named Laika. Eisenhower in the Vanguard decision. Von Braun. By the mid-1950s, scientists had developed most of the technology to make a rocket-launched nuclear warhead a reality, with one exception. When a warhead re-entered the Earth's atmosphere, it would experience surface temperatures of more than 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit due to air friction. The Vanguard decision. January 31st, 1958, the United States finally became a competitor in the space race. Explorer 1 became America's first satellite. Sorry for the glare. Go. You guys need to go back and just released a video on Eisenhower yesterday, going to his library and museum and final resting place. But Eisenhower started the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, otherwise known as NASA, in 1958. Oh, Luna 2 became the first man-made object to impact the lunar surface. That's pretty cool. This is an actual flight-ready backup unit of the Pioneer 4 lunar probe.
Finally, if we are to win the battle, which is now going on around the world, between freedom and tyranny, the dramatic achievements in space.
They're glass windows.
This is familiar with all, as did the Sputnik in 1957.
In Cape Canaveral, Florida.
On the
crazy.
Sincerely, in my term, our efforts in space have been under review. With the advice of the Vice President, who is Chairman of the National Space Council,
Before you are
we
the
examined
remains
where we
of
are strong
Mercury.
and where we are not, where we may succeed and where we may not.
Before you are the remains of Mercury spacecraft number 4, first production man-rated spacecraft to be delivered to NASA for flight.
Take a clearly leading role in space achievement, which in many ways may
It was launched into space on an ill-fated and unfortunately unmanned mission, July 29, 1960. It didn't make it. Less than 1 minute after launch, an altitude of 32,000 feet, the spacecraft and Atlas booster exploded. So this is what remains of it. That is... We have the... After reviewing over 500 candidates, NASA chose 7 astronauts: Scott Carpenter, Gordon Cooper, John Glenn, Gus Grissom, Wally Schirra, Alan Shepard, and Deke Slayton, who would later be known as the Mercury 7. Some Soviet posters here on space flight. Oh, they're called cosmonauts. Oh wow. There's a piece. This is a piece of the Berlin Wall, part of the inner German border wall that divided West Germany and East Germany. There's Khrushchev. There's another piece of the Berlin Wall. The Berlin Wall remained intact until 1989. German border wall was throughout Germany was dismantled. On January 13th, 1993, these pieces before you were some of the last sections of the wall to be removed. The wall sections on display here were part of the border that separated the village of Zakiri on the west side and Bulkwitz on the east side. Here we have JFK.
I am proud.
The R-7 space rocket. It's the engine. This is... This is pretty impressive. It says by 1957, the R-7 was the most powerful rocket on Earth. This is the Redstone rocket. Is nicknamed the American V2. Redstone's V2 Type A5 engine could throw a nuclear warhead up to 400 miles behind the Iron Curtain. I think we need to get rid of all nuclear weapons. There's a SM-65 Atlas rocket for America's first intercontinental ballistic missile. If nuclear war had broken out in the early 1960s, an Atlas missile bound for the Soviet Union might have lifted off from southern Kansas. Wow, this is a Russian space vehicle. Check it out. There's a watch. There are the gloves. Russian spacesuit. That is the most interesting. It looks like something from Star Wars, like the Death Star. Look at that. That is insane. This is all. There's another one. A cosmonaut suit. And spacecraft. That's very interesting. It's the inside of the Liberty Bell 7. It looks so tight and not very comfortable. Look at that. Was the second manned spacecraft to fly as part of the Project Mercury, piloted by Gus Grissom. It says after a routine flight, the spacecraft sank to the bottom of the ocean. It was recovered from the ocean floor in July 1999 and restored by the Cosmosphere Spaceworks Division. Well, this was on the bottom of the ocean. That's pretty cool that they got it back. There's pictures of them pulling it up from the ocean. And the paint job stayed pretty well. They removed over 25,000 parts and disassembled it and cleaned it. Wow. So, Gemini recovery. During re-entry to Earth's atmosphere, the spacecraft experienced extreme heating due to friction. Heat shield had to withstand temperatures exceeding 2,000 degrees. The intense heat resulted from compression and rapid deceleration as the spacecraft traveled at speeds at approximately 25,000 miles per hour. Crazy. Survival kit. Go over and check out this. There's more about the Liberty Bell 7. There's Gus Grissom right there. I got this newspaper from 1961. First U.S. spaceman back. Okay. That paper's 7 cents back then. Inflation. Don't know what it is today. Like a survival kit. Wow. Another. A lot of glare going on here. Some space-related toys from the 60s. Got a astronaut mask. Astronaut doll. Got Tang. We got Snoopy, the astronaut. There's a Gemini spacesuit. Guess we can see if I can.
Motion control will appear. Move the stick forward, welcome aboard, and stay looking for instructions on how to fly. NASA's Gemini program was
Spacesuits. What we wear now, I think. We're close to it. So, V2 rocket. How cool is that? V1 rocket.
Jackson. Yeah. This concentration camp, all were male and predominantly Soviet, French, or Polish. Surprisingly few were Jewish.
Standing here at the bottom of the rocket. Probably don't want to be here when this thing goes off. I'm going to be crispy. Alright guys, I think that does it here at the Cosmosphere in Hutchinson, Kansas. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you guys enjoyed this content, please hit that like button to help the video along, and hit that subscribe button to keep up with future videos. And as always, have a good one. Alright guys.